Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com, and I wanted to take a look at what I thought was a very interesting day in crude oil. In fact, we were doing a live session with our members this morning, and we were really focusing in on crude oil. And this is a 2-minute chart. We were also kind of zoning in on our 30-second chart to really, pinpoint some entry type ideas as well. But I thought from an educational perspective, what I could talk about here was, number one, just in general, a strategy for dealing with gap opens, whether they're buying or selling gaps. And then number two, using the extended hours chart or the overnight chart, where in essence the gap was created, for guidance during the trading day. So, and I say overnight from the perspective of being in the U.S. where I am, but just the regular trading hours versus extended trading hours chart idea here. We like to, in general, separate the two because the type of trade is so different. We find that it's very helpful to, you can look at a market basically 24 hours long, but we like to separate it into two charts, one with the regular trading hours, which has its own kind of personality, and we do relative comparisons with that, and then the other with an overnight chart, which really does a nice job of giving you kind of normalizing the feel in the overnight. And I can show you that in just a minute. So anyway, we had a major buying gap. Let me kind of scoot this back, but you can see that if we look at, we had a high yesterday of around 101.40, give or take, and we opened right around 02.95. Okay, so very major buying gap. So a lot of buying that came in the overnight. And this is our overnight chart, extended hours chart, and you can see that a lot of this move came around 3:30 Eastern time, with just this extended area, about 12 to 15 minutes of just extreme buying that came in right here. And then it just kind of kept working its way higher, rejection of any selling, follow through of buying, rejection of selling, follow through of buying the way up. We opened right around 03. And I'm going to come back to this chart in a minute, but it's not surprising that we kind of petered out there around 03. That was actually a resistance area that we were looking at heading into the day, if we could even get that high, which was the high of a selling gap from, I believe, the 10th. So anyway, if we look in here at the opening here, and we talk about what do you do when there is a buying or selling gap, especially a major buying and selling gap. There are some people whose school of thought is just you automatically, I'll just talk from the perspective of a buying gap, you automatically just sell the gap, the percentages are in your favor. And there is some validity to that. Other people, sometimes will panic and think that the overnight gap is just going to continue on and they don't want to miss out on this major move. And so either way, I think that, if you're just sticking in an order based only on the fact that there's a gap, I think you could increase your edge. I think you can increase your odds. And the way that we look at gap openings is we want to see, when we get a major structure one way or the other, is there follow through or rejection? So we got this major buying gap. If there would have been some extreme buying that came in right on the open, well, then that's the type of a gap that you want to go with. You want to just keep riding that major overnight action. If, on the other hand, there is no immediate buying in this case, and instead there's some selling, here's some level 1 selling, we finally get some level 2 selling in there, then you're going to be more apt, or I think you increase your edge of, going with the gap fill, if you will. Now, I think you still need to, is that your style? I'm just talking if you like to trade gaps, you can add the aggression bars to your toolbox, and I think it just really adds to your edge. So in this case, you can see we got some selling. We came and tested toward the high of that selling. I thought we might get some buying that came in here. In fact, we broke out lower, had more selling, another selling aggression bar here. Then we had this level 3 bar on the low of the day. Now, here's where I want to talk about where the overnight session can really come in handy. In terms of, part 2, in terms of using the extended hours chart to help you during the day trading session. Now, if you're in different parts of the world, or you want to trade in the overnight, if you're in the U.S., by all means, you can trade these overnight charts. I think they're very tradable. They're very usable. But assuming you're just using it in the way that I do to kind of give you a handle on what happened overnight, and then to help you understand or identify spots where you may want to kind of lean on the overnight chart, this here is just some extreme buying that came in. You don't often see, this is a 3-minute chart. There are 4 level 3 buying bars in a row right there. I mean, that's extreme buying. So there's obviously some very strong buying that's come in there. The bulls are very, in control of that spot. So the logic would dictate the next time the market's down there, it should hold very nicely. So if I just draw a box in here at this price, basically where the buying came in and it held in the overnight, if I just do that and then copy it and bring it over to the day chart and paste it, you can see that, let me scroll back a little bit, this is where, if this is the whole buying gap from here to here, this is the part early on around 3:30 Eastern time that the extreme buying really came in. So we were talking in our session about really looking to be buyers somewhere in this area. I thought we were going to get a jump a little bit early, but it kind of did a two-step. But then once we got into this zone down in here, you can see that this is the first time that we had a level 3, we had a selling structure that was rejected in here, and even before it was rejected, we started to have some extreme buying. So then you see we have 3 extreme buying aggression bars that come in right in here, right in a row. And that's some just incredible level of buying aggression. You can see we took out this earlier, kind of fractal high and came right back and tested right down to it. We were talking about that in the session. But the buying just really took off from here, and it's not surprising. So if you're thinking about, number one, how do you handle gaps, or number 2, how do you use the overnight chart to help you make better sense of when you might want to pull the trigger? I think those are 2 really good ways that you can do that. And again, that's something we were talking about today in the session that I think was pretty helpful. So you can see that it's just some real strong buying came in. We tested right up to that 03 level again and sold off a bit, came right back to the support zone, and then took it out toward the end of the RTH. The market certainly, the crude oil market is certainly back to the bullish phase. But I think those are 2 helpful ways that you can use that. So if you have any questions about that, if you need any clarification, let us know. But I think that's hopefully a couple helpful tips there. And we'll talk soon. Thanks.